This is Jack Whitaker, and ladies and gentlemen, the World Championship Super Bowl game proudly presents for your halftime enjoyment, Way Down Yonder, produced by Tommy Walker. Let's give a resounding welcome to that fast-stepping, toe-tapping band from Jaguar Land, the Southern University Band from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, under the direction of Isaac Gray. Join us in welcoming the band and all the watching world to Way Down Yonder in New Orleans. They say care forgot this city. We hope you never will. New Orleans, the Crescent City. New Orleans with streetcars named Desire, traveling on streets paved with dreams. There was Bourbon Street, named for the Duke of Bourbon, but now reigned over by a king. His name, Al Hurt. His scepter, a golden horn. And here's the king, taking us down the first street of dreams, Bourbon Street. From Bourbon Street to Basin Street, where it really all began. And here is New Orleans' own Marguerite Piazza, star of supper clubs, the Metropolitan Opera, and television, with Basin Street Blues.
Down
And here is Southern University's Super Bowl step. You have to see it to believe it. From Basin Street to South Rampart Street, named for the old city's protective wall. The walls are down, and the only Army marching through these days is the band of Southern University. They play South Rampart Street Parade. On a gray January day, 155 years ago, at a Chalmette plantation south of New Orleans, a general named Andrew Jackson and a young pirate named John Lafitte led the battle for New Orleans. These two unlikely allies engaged the mighty British Army. It could only happen here. Unbelievably, it did. smoke cleared, the British had lost 1,975 men killed, while the American casualties were 6 killed and 7 wounded. The defeat of the Redcoats saved this city and made the western expansion of our new nation possible. Life, too. An era of opulence secured by fortunes founded on sugar and cotton, nurtured by the mighty Mississippi. On its banks, the dream world of garlanded galleries, winding stairs, massive columns dark by magnolia and oak. And on the water, a riverboat. Southern bells leaning over its rails, tossing silver dollars at the bubbles behind the paddle wheel. We are now going to be serenaded by a couple of river minstrels who many times have floated down the Mississippi. The minstrels, Al Hurt and Lionel Hampton. The song, Do You Know What It Means to Miss New Orleans? New Orleans is the place where jazz was born, and a man can also depart by it. The Jazz Funeral. Their names read like jazz poetry, and poetry was what they were all about. Papa Celestine, Jelly Roll Morton, Bunk Johnson, Johnny St. Cyr, George Lewis, John Brown, and Paul Murray. These jazz greats who lived what soul really is before anybody tried to give it a name. They made perfect the parts of a man you can't see, like what makes him laugh and sometimes what makes him cry. The trip to the graveyard was a mournful one. All of the sad things in a man's life got their due. The jazz on the trip back from the graveyard was something else again. Louis Armstrong said they just tear their horns apart. They were letting the departed hear the music the way he liked it in life. Fantasy, things as they were, as folks would have them and occasionally as they are, come together in a wild and dazzling package of glittering beads, floats out of dreams, music and maskers, all coming together in a revelry called Mardi Gras. A million words couldn't tell it like it really is, but Al Hirt's horn comes close. So, come to the Mardi Gras. Al Hirt, Marguerite Piazza, Lionel Hampton, Doc Severinsen, the Southern Band, the Onward, and the Olympia Brass Band all thank you for joining us way down yonder in New Orleans. The show produced by Tommy Walker, script by Gus Watts. We're almost ready to begin the second half with Minnesota kicking off to Kansas City.